I'm Devin Wazin and I work for T&T Road Company, and this is our slasher and our crane. It's not only used for loading wood, loading trucks, but you can also slash wood with it. So that's taking something that's tree length and cutting it down to length. I have marks on this slasher all throughout. I have 16-foot, 6, I got 12-6, 10-6, 9-6, 7-6, and then I have one on the other side of the saw that measures my shortest log. That one's very useful because when you're slashing a pile, let's say you grab one that's 15 feet, you know you can get 2 7/6s out of it with that plate that's welded on the slasher, and this way you don't have to get out and measure. It's kind of there for you. Other than that, it's pretty simple. I can run the whole thing from inside the crane. It's just buttons on the joystick. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. It takes a little while to learn the tricks, but like everything, it's just the tricks that you need to learn.
Why do you cut it at certain lengths? And you mentioned 7/6, 15/6, all of these. Why 6 inches, and what are you trying to achieve?
The extra 6 inches, that's their slash that they use at the mill, whether they need to shorten it up or, that's their thing. But for different lumber, I guess, let's say like your veneer logs, that's usually at 10/6 and 9/6. And most veneer places they'll roll them. There's a lot to it because you can only have so much sweep, certain top size, you got certain lengths, and you can only have so much rot if there's usually no rot at all on a veneer. A certain amount of defects in that one log, you're definitely getting the most out of it. So I just slashed up this pine, this red pine, tree length. So for the most part, you can grab 1 or 2 pieces of 16/6 because it was quite long. And then after that, as long as I meet my top size, which was 8, I can cut it shorter. So let's say the spec was 12/6 or 10/6. So after that, you're using up the whole tree. The idea is just to get a small piece of scrap, and it's definitely a big blade. You can just punch out a rivet and you can pull the teeth in and out. That's how you just change your teeth. It's pretty easy to damage though. You got to be very careful. You don't want to be cutting the bucket, but it slices through the red pine pretty easily, just like butter. The first thing I'll do is when I start any log, I try to make if it's high grade, let's say hardwood high grade, the first thing I look for is the species, because the species will tell me whether it's if it's a red maple, you're not getting veneer out of that. It's just saw logs. So I usually try to save a little bit, so I'll cut a bunch of red maple at once, and I know it's just saw logs, put it to your length and go. But if it's like hard maples, yellow birch, white birch, the species you're getting veneer out of, the first thing I do is, can I make a veneer out of it? And if it meets top size, it meets the no seams, if it meets the spec, I'll cut the longest one I can right away. And then after that, it's the next step down, whether you have to cut a curve out of the log or there's a big Y, you want to get rid of that, you want to cut that off, you want to make the straightest log possible. And whatever the next spec is for that rest of that tree, I'll cut the next one. Each tree is individual, there's not one the same. I like to cut 2 at a time. I find it's a little easier on the blade. The log doesn't jump and whatnot, but I also like cutting 2 at a time because one is always straighter than the other. So when you're looking at 2, you can say, holy cow, there's a lot of sweep in this one, or that's a really nice log. You know, sometimes when you put a beautiful one next to an ugly one, you really you see the difference.
The object here is to get the most out of that log.
The most out of it, yep, for sure.
You know?
So whatever it is to make the most out of that tree.